This is Tarron with Twist Mesquite Performance Horses. We are on a mission to create a world-class 2-year-old program that specializes in the rein cow horse. Today we're doing a video with Apache. This is the end of the first week with this horse. We're going to go over the things we've worked on, what we're looking at, and just kind of walk you through where we have him so far and where we're looking to take him. So first off, we have him just loose here in the round pen. I like that he is facing up to me. I can walk up there to him where he's looking towards us a little bit. I would say that in our round pen work, the first thing we work on is getting that direction. Make sure that we can send him in a direction and him continue at that gait that we ask him to be at. With this horse here, as he is more on the reactive side, on the flighty side, where his engine gets revved up pretty easily, I would rather him be at this trot like he is right here, rather than at a lope, because he already naturally kind of wants to run and run off. And so if even just having him at this trot and him realizing it's a pretty good gait to be in, he's slowing himself down off of what he naturally wants to do. So the first step is, as I said, to have direction. I want to get him going in the direction that I pointed, the direction I asked him to be in. I want to be able to step in front and back up, have him face me. I like that he came into me right there. I want him to go off this other direction. I've worked him in the round pen. These actual exercises loose a few times more than I might do some other horses. And that's because I want him to understand when he is away from me, it's more work. And when he's facing me, when he is with me, that's where his rest is. This horse has the owner let us know that, he'd have a tendency of taking the halter, or taking that halter and kind of turning and dragging some people around. So he has that desire to run off and want to be anywhere that is not where you're at. And so this is one way, the first step in just helping this horse understand that his best option is being in here with us. Again, I would rather him be at a trot right here, where we are getting him to move his feet. We are creating work for him, but he's not getting his mind revved up too much. Now, it's because if this horse was at a lope, this type of horse, if this horse was at a lope, he might get too hot on us and have that adrenaline hit him and just stop thinking altogether. So I like that he stopped right there and faced me. I don't mind that he's walking into me. He's coming into me a little bit. I like that. So right there, I stepped to his hip, and he moved that hip away to keep 2 eyes on me. Now, when I first started doing that, day 1, I would step over here, and he'd take off, and he'd go run off. And so this shows us right here, he's thinking about paying attention to me and realizing that his best bet is to pay attention to me, to give me 2 eyes, because the alternative is to be running around this round pen. There, that was really good. See, he moved that hip, disengaged that hip, and then he stepped towards me. And so we're breaking that hip loose a little bit, and he's drawing into me right here. And this is also, see that draw right there? And that draw right there, he's starting to follow me a little bit, and we don't have a halter on him. And that right there is simply teaching this horse that you have to work if you're not with us. So it's a better deal to want to get along, to be with us. And that's a fundamental thought that this horse needs to have in order to progress him to where he starts to understand that we're here to help him, that we are a good thing rather than a danger to him or something, or somebody that he needs to run away from. So would say that I started working on this halter work. You know, first thing I go to do is teach him how to disengage his hip. So if we can disengage that hip, we can take his power away from him. We start moving his body right here. So this is important for when we do lunge him, where we can have control of this hip right here. So if you have control of this hip, you can keep this horse from running off from you. But without control of this hip, without him understanding how to move this hip and disengage this hip, then he can take his face and just run off from us. Especially a horse that's learned and he's had the experience of doing that, taking his face and running off, and in that he's gotten reward for that actions. So it means he has this right here, just a little bit, you know, him understanding the difference between me asking him to move his feet and asking him to stand still with my desensitizing. So we just reinforce the difference right there. But anyway, if we have control of his hip right here, then we have better control for when we go to ask him to lunge and we have him at the end of this lead rope. Okay, so with this horse having had the opportunity to take that lead rope, to take that halter and run off, just turn tail, run off, drag people around, we want to make sure that we keep leverage. What do I mean by that? I want a shorter lead rope between me and this horse. I want to be able to get this horse's eyes right here. And so there was a couple times where I had to jerk this horse around a little bit because this horse would think about taking off, running off, and I would have to sit back and jerk on that horse a little bit to get his attention, to get his eyes on me, for him to realize, hey, I can't just go and run off. Now the other part to that is kind of how I went about it at first. If he would go to run off from me, and at this point I want to remind him, I like that he just kind of walked off there. As I said, I want this lead rope short, and I want to be able to disengage that hip and let him rest right here, to where this is the rest. When he gives me 2 eyes, if I have 2 eyes of this horse, I have control of this horse. But if this horse is not willing to give me 2 eyes, he wants to run off, he wants to stay out there and just get faster and faster, then I start to lose control of this horse. But when I can step in front and I can get 2 eyes, or I can disengage his hindquarters and get 2 eyes, then I'm able to regain control of this horse. I like that departure there. It's a slow departure. I would rather that with this horse. Some horses, I want them to be quicker about it. They're more on the lazy side. With this horse specifically, I would rather that be a slower departure right there. I like that he's coming around here and he's starting to tip his nose into me. You see some slack in this lead rope? At first, there was not any of that, because he was tight and tense, and he was just waiting to get far enough out here on this lead rope where he could go and run off and take this lead rope out of my hands. There, that was good. His right side, so going that other direction, was a lot worse than this side. I assume that that's probably the side he went and was dragging people around on. There, just like that. Want him to give me 2 eyes and let him rest. See, that's a big old exhale. Lowered his head, licked his lips. See, we're doing these exercises in a way to where there's time for him to relax. He realizes, hey, I can relax when we're doing this. When I'm desensitizing him, when I'm standing here letting him give me 2 eyes. Those things like that, he realizes, hey, those aren't bad times. I can relax. So then the whole time we're with him, it's not a high pressure situation, not understanding what he needs to do. And so we're making it clear. We're being a little slower with him so that he does understand. A young colt that didn't have some of these habits that had formed, where we could progress him a little quicker through the training, as he's a blank slate. And a horse that has some things that he got away with. I think the prior owner had gotten worried about this horse and scared of this horse, and I think this horse was just a little bit too much for them to handle, and so there were some bad habits that formed. And so, this Emily, this horse's owner now, that's why she brought him to us. Her goal is to have this horse quiet and calm and confident, to where she can get on this horse and be able to just enjoy him, be able to go ride him, be able to have a nice horse underneath him. Well, we're laying the foundation for that. We're building this framework into this horse's understanding, to where he does what we ask him to do right then. When he does that, he's doesn't have to be concerned or worried about it. And then he rests and relaxes when we give him the opportunity to. I like that he's keeping his feet still right here. He's still Still kind of on edge a little bit, but the more we do these desensitizing exercises, the more we touch him all over, the more he'll relax. We're going to do a lot more of this. I want him to keep his feet completely still and relaxed, not feel like he has to move his feet. Want him to understand that I can move all the way around him right now, and he should just keep his feet still and relax. One interesting thing about this horse I've noticed, when this horse pivots, disengages those hips, his front end is a statue. I mean, he'll put these little holes in the ground because his foot just sits there. It's like a drill. You have like a drill hole in the ground right here, and it's kind of an interesting deal. Because ideally, we want those front, we want that outside front foot to be completely still. And I haven't seen it much on any other horse other than this one, so that's interesting. It's a neat little thing about him. When we first started doing this, he is certainly pretty concerned about it, especially around his hind end, his hip back there. He still kind of jumps around a little bit, and those hind legs, which is just a pretty natural thing for a flighty horse, where they'll, a horse that's more on the reactive side, where he gets worried about those feet and that's his hindquarters. And early in my colt starting career, I had a horse that bucked me off, and the reason he bucked me off was I didn't do enough preparation, enough desensitizing of his hip back here. And so I got on him. This was the second ride. Everything was going well, and I just reached back there and touched his butt, and it startled him. He jumped forward and bucked me off. And that was just because, as I said, I didn't do any preparation back here. I didn't spend time rubbing all over him. I didn't spend time disengaging his hips and rubbing on his hips and throwing this rope over there and throwing that string over there and rolling that tarp up and down. I didn't spend any time doing that. And so he went, that was one thing I missed in my preparation, and that's what caused me to get bucked off. So with this lunging here, because this horse has been in the habit of taking this lead rope and this halter and running off, jerking it out of your hands, I want to make sure it's correct. I want to make sure it's slow. I want to make sure that he understands what we're asking him to do, and he starts to create a habit out of it. Because I might be able to jerk this horse around, but somebody else get on the end of this lead rope. We want him to understand that he's supposed to give to pressure. And that's what we're teaching him right here. We're teaching him to go where I ask him to go and to give to pressure when he gets there. So I ask him to send through here. And then give to that pressure. I'm asking him to yield that hindquarters. Then I might ask him to step forward a hair and give to that pressure right there. Because that is the opposite of what he was doing. What was he doing before? Well, when you'd ask him to lunge or something, he would just continue to take that lead rope and run off. And jerk this lead rope out of your hands. Another exercise we've been working on in this follows suit after those last two for a reason. But this is just going to help him follow his nose right here. I want him to follow his nose. And then I want him to go back into that lunge there, into that circle. Now pick up on that lead rope, and he disengages those hips and comes back to me. See, this is a lot different than what he was doing before, to where you'd send him and lunge him, and him just jerk that lead rope out and run off. And so we're teaching him a whole new way of thinking. This is what I expect out of him when I send him somewhere. I expect him to go out there, to have some slack in the lead rope, and then to come back to me when I ask him. So that prior one, we worked on that on both sides, where we just have him follow his nose and then go back into that circle. And then this one right here, it's the same thing, but then we ask him to draw into us rather than that circle. Seeing all of this right here is just helping him realize this is where his rest is. This is where he gets to relax. It's a difficult place for him to be on the outside, to be off without us. So this is going to help him. It's better for his preservation to be up here with us. The more we do that right there, he's going to get more relaxed with this behind his butt. And so, I want him to stand still right here. We might do some more of this right here. We just throw this over his hindquarters. See, move that hip as he's concerned about it. So we just do more of this right here. We need all of this stuff pretty good, because this is combating several years of whoever has had this horse prior to his current owner, and allowed some things to form and allowed some bad habits to start. And so this right here is, we're doing a lot of this stuff that's helping create some new habits for him. See, he still kind of jumps around a little bit, but he's getting better and better. He's keeping his feet still right here. He's not quite relaxed, but he is keeping his feet still, and he's doing a whole lot better right here. And it's just going to continue to take time. But the more, one of the benefits of our program, one of the things we found that's really beneficial is the inclusivity, the all-inclusive aspect of our program here. We handle the care, the feeding, the training, and we're able to be around these horses at different times of the day, so that they know just because they're around me doesn't mean that they're in there going to work. And so they get to come up and be around me when we're feeding them, when we're cleaning stalls, when we're watering. As they get further along, as we blanket them, these horses just get more familiar with us and comfortable with us, rather than if I just go in there and I'm just working this horse. He's going to realize every time I show up, it's time to work. So I liked right there, as we was talking there, he's lowering his head, he's licking his lips, relaxing. See, right there was a lot better. He was a lot more relaxed through that turn right there. It was really good. Okay, so one of these next is the lunging exercise we've worked on. And this was a good challenge for him because it was really challenging him to not get back into that habit of running off with this lead rope and his halter, taking his halter and running off. Because we'd add some more pressure. So this right here, I'm going to step in front and send him back this other way. Seeing right there, when I first started that, when he hit that corner and got back going this direction, he would take this halter and try to run off. And so this right here has been a big improvement for him, to where we can send him through this groundwork. We can send him through this exercise right here. Just step in front, send him back that other way, and him stay in this circle and keep pretty good slack in this lead rope. See, it's a little tighter right here, so he got a little more worked up about it. But the more we do it, the better he'll get. At this point, we want to just take it slow. Bring him back into the circle. I'm kind of pulling his head a little bit to the inside of the circle. Once he gives to me, I give back to him, encouraging him to get soft to me in the circle right here. And I bet he'll lick his lips here pretty quick. And just relax. And there's his lips licking. Lowering his head. See, there's a lot more. One of the things you can notice with these horses is his eyes blinking. So he's blinking a lot more. When a horse is tense and concerned, he'll probably have that head stick up there in the air, and he won't be blinking his eyes very much. So that's just, he's getting ready to react and run off and react to something going on. And so the more he blinks those eyes, the more you can tell he's relaxing. But that he's got his leg cocked, so his hind foot is showing that he's relaxing a little bit. Because the opposite, when they have those feet braced up, again, that means, just like his eyes, means he's ready to go and run off somewhere, ready to take off and go somewhere, flee from the situation. But the more we're just sitting here, we ask him to move, we get better at those, let's say those active exercises, where I'm asking him to move his feet, and then we ask him to come in here and just relax, calm down, rub all over him, throw a rope all over him, stick and string. The more we do that, the more he's going to start to understand. There's two types of interactions with us. One where we're asking him to work, and another is when we're asking him just to relax, calm down, be relaxed. Whether that's when we're saddling him, we're getting his feet done, we're worming him, we're feeding him, grooming him, giving him a bath, all sorts of those kind of things. This horse needs to have an understanding that there is a time for him to relax, and it's his best option to relax. And that's where That's what we're building right here, that understanding in him. I want to be able to send this stick and string all over him as well, and especially his hindquarters. Doing a lot to where we're having this. I'm focusing this on his hindquarters back here, those back feet. Having him feel that behind his butt back there. He got a big deep breath right there. It was good. So yesterday we started working on the next one, the next exercise. I want to be able to just rub all over this horse right here. That's part of it. I want to be able to come up here, have him understand, be comfortable with me right here. And then we're going to work on flexing him, where I just pick up this leader up softly, and he gives, I give back to him. We're starting at a starting place. Well, this horse right here, as stiff as he is, and a lot of stiffness is just resistance. I'd say when a horse is soft, that horse is malleable. His mind is saying, yes sir, what do you need me to do? And he's committed. He is on board with what we're asking him to do. He's willing. But then when there's some resistance, when there's stiffness, that's that horse still thinking about his own self-preservation. But I like right there, he's lowering his head with me being over here, standing around him. That's a big thing for him. Lowering his head, licking his lips. He's just relaxing right here with me standing here. This is a big thing. I want to pick up on this rein. I want him to give to it. Then I give back to him. Now eventually, as we go, we're going to be able to pick up on this rein. He gives to it quickly and then comes all the way around and touches his belly. But we're just going to have to work on it, make progress towards that, and just ask for little improvements. That right there, I lifted slightly and he started giving very quickly. So that was a good improvement there. This right here is going to help him relax, get that head down. So when a horse is soft from side to side, when he'll give to you, on either side, whether you're doing softness through his body, having him move his body parts, or having him flex that head and neck, that softness will translate to a little bit of more softness through his head and neck, to where he starts lowering his head down. But we have to have him soft side to side in order for that horse to, and soft through that body, in order for this horse to start carrying this head down a little bit more. And a lot of it is just that self-preservation. This horse is concerned for his safety. And when they're concerned for their safety, they're going to elevate this head up here because they're wanting to see. They're wanting to get a good view. They're wanting to be able to see at a higher, as high as they can, to see what's going on. So the more low their head is, the more relaxed they are, and the less they are concerned about their own safety. And that comes from them being confident in you, focusing on you. They understand you're not going to hurt them, so they start to trust you. They don't have to be so concerned about their safety. I want to go back to this side a little bit. This side was a little worse than the other. I'm just going to let him right there. He's just lowering that head, licking his lips. I'm going to leave that alone right there. Whenever he goes and licks those lips, I'm going to let him sit there and think about it. To me, when a horse has that moment and he's licking those lips, you notice it a lot on these horses when you're teaching them something, especially in groundwork, it seems like. But that horse is learning something, to me it seems like. And I'm going to let him chew on that, so to speak. Let him chew on it, let him think about it, let him ponder, and let him absorb that thought. There, that was really good. So far with Apache for this week, we've made a lot of progress. As I said, we've gone through all of those exercises, the round pin work, the teaching him to disengage his hindquarters, making sure that he'll sit between us and the fence, making sure that he understands both types of lunging, making sure that he understands how to follow his nose and follow this halter through a turn. Make sure he understands how to draw up to us. Make sure he understands the start of some of these desensitizing exercises we're going to work with. Make sure that, through this whole process, we're able to walk up there to him and catch him. No problem. We're able to go to his pen, catch him, bring him back over here, able to take him back. We got him. We were able to get him wormed yesterday. And so, we could tell he'd kind of had some bad experiences with that as well, to where he just throws his head up and he's pretty resistant to that. We were able to get him to relax and have a good experience with even the worming. So, all this stuff just goes in stages. But it's what is the mindset and what is the mind frame that we want this horse in? And he's pretty relaxed right here. This mind where he's lowering his head, he's relaxing, he's keeping his feet still, he's paying attention to me, he's not sticking up here looking around. And so we've made a lot of progress with him so far this week. So that'll be our update for him. End of week 1, and we'll see you on the next one.